11-year-old Jeff, along with the rest of the Boy Scout troop, did a good turn in order to complete a project for their next service badge. The boys gathered at Mr. and Mrs. Myers' house and spent some time cleaning the snow and ice off the older couple's sidewalks and porch. But somehow, Jeff didn't feel satisfied. To him, it felt soil of phony. He talked it over with his scoutmaster. "I don't think it really helped them much. It seems like we did it more to earn points for ourselves. You could go back on your own to see what you can do to help them," the discerning scoutmaster suggested. "And, if you don't tell anyone about it, you won't be earning points in any way." To Jeff, that sounded like the perfect solution. Several days passed before Jeff worked up enough courage to return to the house. When he finally knocked on the door, he was nervous, but he was determined to follow through with his good turn. It was Mrs. Myers who opened the door. She listened carefully, and then politely declined Jeff's offer of help. Mr. Myers, however, overheard the conversation. "I know something you can help with," he said cheerfully, and he motioned Jeff to follow him into the kitchen. Mr. Myers had several projects there needing the aid of sturdy arms and legs. Jeff was kept busy carrying items up and down from the basement, and climbing a stepladder to reach high shelves and corners. That evening when he climbed into bed, Jeff felt very tired, but he felt more satisfied with his work than he had after shoveling snow. After school the next day, Jeff returned to the Myers home. This time they were both willing to accept his help with several tasks. He stopped by a third time a few days later. "No work today," Mrs. Myers said. For a moment Jeff felt offended, but then he saw the twinkle in Mr. Myers' eyes. "Today we have a surprise for you." With that they ushered him into the small dining room. A charming table setting for three sat waiting, complete with lace cloth, flour, and a silver plate filled with diamond-shaped cookies. Jeff was quite surprised, but he remembered his manners and held a chair for Mrs. Myers as she sat down. "These are poor man's cookies," Mrs. Myers said as she passed the silver plate to Jeff. "Why are they called that?" he asked, thinking it an odd name for cookies. Mr. Myers answered, "After you buy all the ingredients, you're a poor man." Thus began an hour or so of laughter and conversation. As the couple shared pictures and told stories about their family that now lived far away, Jeff's heart was softened as he realized how lonely they were. He decided to stop by often and help out. All during the years of junior and senior high school, Jeff continued to find reasons to stop by. There was always some way he could pitch in. Between mowing lawns, raking leaves, clearing snow, weeding gardens, and all kinds of indoor projects, the three talked and laughed and grew to be very important in each other's lives. All too soon came when Jeff entered the army to serve his country. Letters had to replace the face-to-face talks package every holiday season. Jeff looked forward to receiving a package from the Myers, always a batch of poor man's cookies. Mr. Myers died while Jeff was in the service, and Jeff felt his loss immensely. When he returned home, he picked up his old habit and just to help out a bit. He knew Mrs. Myers was lonelier than ever without Mr. Myers. And she continued to serve poor man's cookies on the silver platter in the dining room. It was so touching to see her continue to set three places on the table for their special tea times. Then, Jeff was getting married. Mrs. Myers would not have missed his wedding for anything. She left her house the day of the ceremony carrying her gift, a rag rug that she wove by hand, and a double batch of poor man's cookies. Tucked inside the package was her special cookie recipe. As it turned out, that was the last batch of cookies she made. Mrs. Myers died a few months later. For many years, Jeff kept his promise to himself that he would never tell anyone about the special project helping the Myers. He thought that drawing the attention to himself would spoil the good turn. 11